Good afternoon, Director Mueller, Ms. Brzezinski. Let me first echo the comments of my colleagues on this commission to say how much we appreciate not only the time that you've given us, but the interactive nature of our relationship with you. You have been responsive to our questions. You've come back. Sometimes you've come back and showed up when you weren't invited. But we appreciate that.
I don't recall that occurrence.
But that was, it is a hallmark of, I think, the willingness from the top of your agency to be responsive to our concerns. There's one area I want to put off to the side, and that's the area of FBI translators. I understand there are active investigations with respect to some of the allegations that have been made. I don't want to get into those facts now. I don't think it's appropriate, but we do want to follow up with you because it's an important area for us.
Absolutely.
Let me make an observation first. Having worked with the FBI long ago as a federal prosecutor, and having observed the agency over the years, it is my view that the FBI is the finest law enforcement agency in the world, bar none. You have in the past been able to operate effectively once you've been focused on transnational crime in the area of narcotics and narco-terrorism, in the area of Sicilian mafia, Russian mafia, operating in the United States and operating in other countries and interacting from our country and other countries. So I don't have a doubt that you can do this. With terrorism, it's a different story. Intelligence is far, far more important with respect to terrorism because the end result is not dollars but death. And so intelligence is critical. And in this regard, we get into the question that had been raised, for example, by my friend and colleague, Senator Gordon, where you posit an individual who is graduating from college, and, you know, this guy may be a brilliant linguist, he may be a philosophy student, he may be a chess champion, he may look like Niles Crane on Frasier, not like Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., okay? He may not want to break down doors. He may be a very mild person. The people that we have met at MI5 who perform analytical function don't look like cops. They don't look like state troopers. They don't look like your typical FBI agent. But they have the brain power. That's not to say the FBI doesn't have the brain power and they're traditional agents, but these people are thinkers first and foremost. They're analysts. They think outside the box. They anticipate. They are entrepreneurial. They are of a different caste than the typical law enforcement officer. You'll give me that, I take it.
Yes.
That's the best and shortest answer I've gotten in weeks.
Shortest question.
Now, here's the question.
Yeah, shortest question.
The shortest questioner, okay. My question is based on the fact that no one questions your integrity, your purpose, but we know that the FBI is sort of a creature which has existed, which has perhaps been the most bureaucratic agency in all of Washington. It's existed with its own culture, protecting itself for a long time against change imposed from outside. In the world of post-Bob Mueller, how do we know that it's not going to revert back as it has from time to time when other directors have tried to institute change? And my question is, under these circumstances, if this commission decides that its recommendation will be to allow or to recommend that the FBI continue to have its responsibility for domestic intelligence. Should we not make sure that the institutional changes that are made, suggested, and are modified, and we may have some modifications, suggestions for you to consider, are not enacted somehow legislatively so that they will be protected against the inclination to morph back into an old regime?
Well, let me go back to the point you were making that wasn't a question, and that is about the person who wishes to come and does not want to wear a badge and carry a gun. We want them. We want those analysts. I will tell you, the first couple of days after September 11th, I was briefed by and continuously briefed and brought up to date by two of the finest analysts I've seen. Every day I am briefed by an analytical cadre that is the match of any analyst that you will have at any of the other agencies, and I know that because Maureen Baginski tells me that. And so we want those people. We want those persons who don't want to break down doors but want to be the same as what you would have at MI5, a targeting officer, for instance. A person that comes in, brings the intelligence together, and sets the requirements to be filled by the collectors in the field. So we want that person. As to the question, the last part, in terms of how do we assure that the changes take hold? We are developing and putting into place a different structure for the FBI that reflects this particular threat today. My own belief is that as we look to 2010, we look further in the future, you ask, what kind of FBI do you want? Increasingly, the FBI's mission will be to address transnational threats because that's where we are the intersection between the threat overseas and state and local law enforcement. We will be doing less state and local law enforcement in our cities and more of the transnational, addressing the transnational threats. That means that we need a different type of agent population with different skills, and we were building to that. We are putting into place the plans not just for where we're going to be in 2005, but where we hope to be in 2010. Now, if you're looking upon that and you're saying, okay, well, how do we know that what you wish to put into place is going to stay when you leave? The fact of the matter is we are not lacking of oversight. Congress, I am up every other, I don't want to say every other week, but often in front of Congress in terms of oversight, in terms of appropriations. It is not that we are not subject to scrutiny in terms of what we have done and where we are going. And that which is the concern of this committee, I believe, will also and has been the concern of Congress. So I believe that there is continuous oversight to assure that what we are putting into place is maintained, is funded, and will be the FBI of the future.